Okay, it's 4:45 in the morning. I've just packed up, well, basically everything and jumped in the car because I'm off on probably a week-long road trip into BC. And I've got a sunrise coming up. And obviously, by my voice, I'm exhausted. I'll explain why once I get to my sunrise spot. Okay, so I forgot to tell you why I was tired. So here it is. Yesterday, my Oma passed. My dad and I went down to organize our things and say our goodbyes. In the past couple months, I've now lost both my grandmothers. And a photography road trip, I think, is just what I need to clear my head, to rebalance. Okay, so it's 6:30 and I just got to Lake Louise. The plan was to go to Moraine Lake, and I got to the entrance, and it is crazy. And I know this is gonna make it sound like I'm one of those guys that's like, back in my day, it used to be better. But when I used to go to Moraine Lake for sunrise, you'd maybe get 2 or 3 other people there. That was it. Didn't matter if it was the middle of summer, it was empty. It's 6:30 in the morning, mid-September, after peak season, and the parking lot's already full and they're already blocking access, so I can't go shoot sunrise there. Even at Lake Louise, the parking lot here is already almost full with people, going out for sunrise. It's wild. I've got 30 minutes until sunrise, so I'm going to just wander around Lake Louise or the side of Lake Louise and see if I can find a photo. I just put my mask on to use the toilet, and now I'm realizing that there's a real benefit to the mask. It's freezing cold. It's literally 0. I'm cold. Mask helps. In my old age, I've become camera shy. There's nearly 100 people around the lake for sunrise, and I don't feel like talking to the camera in front of them. Instead, I'll tell you that I was lazy. I headed right for a composition that I knew. That was tried and tested. I did so because I actually didn't have much faith that the fog would lift. But I knew that on the off chance it did, it could be epic. But as the blue mist lingered, I started to lose hope. Then, just for a couple minutes, perfection happened. The fog, as it so often does here, made the photo. And yes, I love the photo I made of the boathouse. It's a classic. I used a polarizer and a 4-stop medium grad to make it. But I think it's this subtle image of the mountains and the reflection piercing through the clouds that I like even more. The trip is off to a good start. And I think all the spectators that came out specifically to watch me take this picture, they left happy. So I'm feeling a little bit stupid this morning because I guess, I don't know, something in my mind thought it was 2010 when, it wasn't busy here. It's wild how busy it is. It's absolutely crazy. It's a Monday in September and it's cold and foggy and there was 100 people at Lake Louise. But it was pretty special. It was pretty beautiful. And it's just good to be back in the mountains. So I'm gonna push on deeper into the mountains and find a campsite. We are totally socked in on fog right now. And actually, I think a lot of times people are looking to avoid fog, but in the Rockies, I look for fog specifically because what tends to happen is it gets socked into these valleys. And if you can get some elevation, you can get above it and get really, really cool, really cool scenes with the lingering clouds and the fog and stuff like that. So that's what I tried to do this morning at Moraine Lake. That's why I got up so early. Had that fail, went to Lake Louise. It kind of happened there, which was kind of cool. And yeah, now it's totally socked in again. But as I go onto the Parkway, I climb in elevation quite a bit up to Bow Pass. And so I'm hoping to get above this all again and have some drama here, even in the middle of the day. Yep, a lot of drama up here. The reflections at Herbert Lake were on point. And as I pushed up the hill, I pierced through the clouds and was left with perfect scenes like this. We just pierced above the clouds and it is spectacular. I'm guessing sunrise up here would have been insane this morning. Photography FOMO creeps over me as I drive above the clouds and look into blanketed valleys and speckled skies. Lake Louise was a special sunrise, but what was it like up here? Okay, I just made it to Mosquito Creek campsite. They have first come, first serve camping here, I think almost all year. And I was a little bit worried that I wasn't gonna get a spot, but there's no spaces, and I guess that's because it's below freezing at night here this time of year. But check out how awesome this is. I'm parked there. There is a little camp fire there, some wood, and this is where I'm gonna set up my tent. Right here. My tent is going here in front of this creek, Mosquito Creek, and this view. This is awesome. Okay, let me explain how this is working, this like self-registration, first come, first serve thing. A lot of my friends, when they come to Canada, they're shocked at how many things are like on the honor system, and the camping here is like that. Basically, you go up to a booth and you take an envelope and this piece of paper. You write down your campsite, the number of campers, the day in and out, and then you fill out this card with how much money you owe. And then you put your credit card number on it, you put it in the envelope, and you drop it into a slot, and that's how you pay. Eventually, I think somebody will charge me. I am exhausted because I slept like maybe 3 hours last night, so I think I'm gonna crawl into the tent and get a bit of a mid-morning nap. Well, I think my nap was longer than my night's sleep, but it was good. It's windy and cold. I'm at Bow Lake now. I have photographed Bow Lake before. This side of the Rockies is really hard because most of the good photos are sunrise photos. The sun gets trapped behind the big peaks and it becomes a bit of a challenge. So my go-to at sunset is always just going to explore. And if a photo comes out, a photo comes out. So I'm gonna do what's called, I think it's called the Bow Glacier waterfall trail. It's about an hour and a half. You can maybe see way off in the distance, there's a waterfall that comes off the glacier. I'm gonna see if there's a photo that way. I have a new backpack. I don't think I talked about this. This is the Shimoda Action. I don't remember what it's called actually. I'll put it down here. But it's basically the newer version of my old bag. And I asked for a smaller version this time too. It's kind of awesome. I'm gonna probably do a review of it at some point, but it's packed up with my gear. I've got my bear spray here in case of bears. I've got my coffee crisp spot there in case I get hungry. So I'm good to go. One of my top 10 favorite animals in the world lives in these rocks. And I've never photographed a pika, but they're so cute. And I just heard one call. They're like the same color as a rock, and they're like the size of a tennis ball. They look like a tennis ball with ears. I couldn't find a pika this time, so here's a quick screenshot of the Google image search for reference. Yeah, tennis balls with ears. As I continue to hike along the cliff towards the glacier, I can't get over the feeling of freedom out here. There's no one around, and nothing but the heavy weight of nature all around me. I'm at the world's whims once again, and it feels amazing. But also, holy God, am I out of shape. Oh. Okay, I want to show you guys this. You can see the glacier falls up there, and obviously there's some other falls in this canyon here, but there's actually a mountain hut that goes up that way, and to get there you have to get across this balancing rock. I don't know if there's anywhere I can show you what this looks like, but it's just a giant rock overhanging this canyon. I mean, let me take my bag off and climb it. The rock crossing is gnarly. I'm just imagining crossing it with a massive hiking bag in the wind. Woo! I made it to the top. The falls are right here. The hike's awesome. That's a really beautiful hike. I've never done it before, and this is a really cool spot. I mean, that's unreal. Freshest water in the world for sure. Literally directly melted off the glacier. There probably has never been water, or it hasn't been water in like a million years until today. That's how crazy that is. That being said, I don't know if it's photogenic at all. It's definitely gonna be hard, if not impossible, to get scale, which is something I always struggle with waterfalls like this. Well, beautiful, this isn't an easy place to photograph. The waterfalls look flat, the landscape's all gray, and the skies are backlit. The sheer scale of it all is gonna be hard to capture. Sorry about the noise, but I can't turn off the waterfall. I found a composition I quite like. The sky isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I am having that problem with the biggest waterfall looking small. It's just how waterfalls like this work with a wide angle lens, but I'm getting right on top of the water. I have a 3-stop ND. I have a 4-stop medium grad, and my settings are 2 seconds f11, actually f16, ISO 100. The photos aren't mind-bending. They feel flat, but I don't even care. I'm out in the Rockies taking pictures. The photo is definitely secondary. I think there's a photo or two in there. I am booking it back down the hill. It's an hour until sunset, and it took me exactly an hour to get here. So I think maybe I might be able to get something at the lake. When hiking, I think it's so important to scout the entire trip. You never know when you're gonna find your photo location for later that day, or even to come back to on a later week, or month, or year. I spotted a stack of driftwood along the lake on the way up, and that spot was on my mind as I raced back towards the water. And with a punch of light to the mid-level clouds, a photo was born. Then, I hiked back through bear country in the dusk. What? Hey, bear. Hey, bear. Shit. Do not like it when I hear trampling in the woods. Walking in the dark with bears around is scary, but don't worry, I have a song to scare them off. I don't want to be eaten by a teddy, eaten by a teddy, the bear spray's at the ready. I don't want to be eaten by a teddy. My singing works to clear out crowds at karaoke night, so hopefully it works in the forest too. I made it back to my tent for a cold night's sleep. Temperatures were well below zero, but at least I didn't get eaten by a bear. And in the morning, I headed to a peak I hoped would catch some sunrise alpenglow. I slept like a rock last night. I'm up now. I'm at Peyto Lake. This is one of my favorite mountains in the Rockies, and this morning is beautiful, and this morning has the potential to be sensational. It's one of those classic Rockies mornings, I hope. You get like westerly weather here, which means that the weather comes from the west. It comes to the west, rises up in altitude, and then dissipates over the highest parts of the Rockies, which is basically right here. This is the Continental Divide. As it dissipates, it breaks up like this, it gets beautiful, and then on top of it, you get sunrise coming off the prairies, which is like totally clear and lights it all up. And it can be phenomenal. And I'm hoping it's one of those mornings, but man, I'm struggling with composition here. It's not an easy place to photograph just because there's not a whole lot of foreground. I have a feeling this is going to be good, and I think that I'm probably just going to be scrambling around taking dozens of photos, and hopefully one of them's good. Okay, I think I have a composition, and I think some color is starting to happen. You can see down the valley, it's already hitting some of the clouds, and it's kind of fun watching because you can see some light hitting the high level here, and then there's some clouds above, and it's starting to hit that cloud. You're starting to get some pinks up there, and actually there's alpenglow on the very top of the peak. The color is gonna kiss these clouds, and wow, I should have got this on time lapse for you. This is incredible, and this is all going to work out exactly the way I hoped. And that doesn't happen very much for me. Usually I jinx it. This is great. So I'm gonna let this light come down this peak a little bit more, light up a little bit more of it, and start snapping. I'm at ISO 200, f11, 15 seconds, and I have a 3-stop ND on. I put the 3-stop ND on because the light changes really fast as it gets lighter, and you can always drop the ISO and then slow down the shutter speed slowly as it does. Look at this now. This is awesome, awesome. Okay, photo time. Alpenglow plus color lit clouds plus one of my favorite lakes equals basically the best way to kick off this road trip. That was perfect. That was absolutely phenomenal. It's still phenomenal. You just don't have the same color in the clouds. You have a brief moment where there's color in the clouds and the mountains. And I think I got it. Every time I come to the Rockies, one, it's special, and two, I realize I need a tilt shift lens for mountains. It just helps bend the mountain back to you, and rather than looking super small in your frame. So that's probably next on my shopping list if I ever have money again. But either way, it's nice being back in the Rockies. I feel like I needed this escape, and it's been, very good for my brain. On the next video, I'm heading that way up towards Banff National Park. See you there. Peace.